to give the feedback to all of the public concerns. Today I'm also here to report to you the updates about the COVID-19 prevention and control. We are in a good momentum. Especially yesterday, we achieved 0 confirmed cases. After 2 months of the arduous work, we finally reached this day. Meanwhile, the mission to promote the economic growth together with the social development means a new pressure to the Hubei province. To further translate and landed General Secretary Xi Jinping's important speech into reality, we have decided from the 11th of March, we decided to have a categorized system about the resumption of work and the resumption of production. I think all the friends from media might understand it that in the 12th of March, Hubei province has printed out a series of the policies supporting the work resumption and the manufacturing resumption. We have briefly called it the policy. Today I'm attending this press release again to give you the general concerns and overall principles behind the policy. So first, I'd like to give you an interpretation about the policy. Compared with other different provinces, we are the hard-hit region, with a late resumption of work and a late resumption of production. Our company is under severe situation. So under the guideline of CPC Central Committee and State Council, our provincial government has put forward a package of the policies about the resumption of work and production. There are 3 targets about the policy. The first one is to give the confidence of all the private sector companies. This is our first and top priority for company and for everybody in Hubei. Confidence is God. That is the reason why the nation and the province has published a series of the policies to create the jobs in our province and stabilize occupation process. This is a series of effort helping the companies in our province and give them more confidence. Our government will always be with you in this most poverty-stricken time. I have also heard a lot of voices on the internet from all kinds of the SMEs and also our general public. I understand your deep concern. We survived COVID-19, and I have every confidence in our company owners and the general public. As long as we are joining hands, as long as we are working together, our company will survive and thrive. And for the private sectors, SMEs is also one of our priority. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, State Council has subsidized us and supported us in the physical policies, job creation, human resources, and insurance. As a company, it is very difficult to have all the information and understand what do we benefited from the national policy. So here we have summarized all kinds of the national policies and provincial policies. That is to say, we package up all the policies for the company to read at one time. Through today's press release, I'm going to give you an overall introduction. My colleagues from NDRC and the physical bureaus of the Hubei province is going to give you a more detailed introduction. This is going to help the company in our province to better understand the policies and better use the policy. We all know that when a company survive, Hubei thrive. When companies thrive, Hubei thrive. To better integrate the companies in Hubei, we need to understand the two important elements in Hubei, and we have published two different guidelines supporting the company in Hubei. For accelerating the economic development, we have put forward new policies covering production, logistics, job creation, and follow-up service and efforts. For the resumption of work and manufacturing, we have also put up a series of the new policies. Financial support, stabilizing job creation, industrial streamline, affiliations. That is the reason I say that the publication of this policy is help the companies to going through the temporary difficulties. I have introduced you the three principles behind our logic. This is also our target, dear friends from media. When you are reading this package of policies, you will also understand that there are 8 different aspects about the policy support. The first one is about enhancing physical and financial support, boosting economic development, lowering down cost for the SMEs, creating more jobs, accelerating economic cycles, focusing on the spring plow time and agricultural production, optimize the entrepreneurial environment. In these 8 different aspects, how do we translate the policy into real practice? I'm going to focusing on the 3 key different areas, and we are looking forward. The publications of these policies is going to stabilize the company, stabilize the industry, stabilizing the job market. The reason we are talking about and repeating the word of stabilizing is our target. We want to stabilize our company's journey to a better future. So the first part of our priority is to stabilize the company's performance. For example, we have exempt 26 months of the unemployment insurance for the SMEs, and we have halved the healthcare insurance for these companies in 26 months. For all the small-scale companies, their tax resumption is cutting down from 3% to 0%. And we have also excluded many different loans from the company. We encourage the company to increase their credibility in the banks. In the year 2019, the growth of the loans of SMEs in our province should be faster and larger than the national scale. So for this part, we are really lucky to invite Deputy Director of the Physical Department, Mr. Wu, and Madam Wang Yulin from PBOC Hubei to give us more detailed introduction. But I have a lot more to say about this front. I have put forward the idea about stabilizing the industrial chain to make up of the losses of the industrial chain and to increase the consumption volume. That is the reason why we are going to subsidize every single round of the consumption train. And we have also going to focus on the industrial upgrading of the traditional industry. We have also going to decide to support more industries, including the big data, Internet of Things, 5G, among other different emerging industries. And these industries, which in turn is also going to help us to tackle against the COVID-19. For example, for many different medical production companies, the newly bought equipment is included in the account receivables, which is going to be deducted from the tax. For those companies which are part of the list of the tax resumptions, we are also going to provide them with a lot of subsidies. For the companies and key companies, production and inventories, it is also going to be bought by the government. We are also going to promote the fresh fruit and fresh foods delivery industry in our whole province. We are also going to coordinate the telecommunication operators by combining the SMEs with the Ali Cloud and Changjiang Cloud, providing 3 to 6 months free of charge cloud officing services. All of this is an indication that we are very supportive for the industrial development. I think for more details, when Mr. Wu Fengjun is on the stage, I think he's going to give you more details. The third stabilization is stabilizing the jobs. We have put the job demand as one of our priority, and we have adopted measures in the 3 different areas. We want to strengthen up government's support in the work resumption. We have designed several different job-seeking platforms on the government, and we give a lot of subsidies for those workers. We also want to widen up the job creation channels. For example, we are also going to collaborate with the companies in the Yangtze River Delta and the Zhujiang River Delta and the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei area. By connecting our workers with companies from these 3 areas, it is going to help our migrant workers back to the big cities. We are also going to channel the migrant workers into the key companies and key areas. And we are also going to help them travel in a safely way. We are also going to set up a series of the public charitable working position. For this part, we are also going to welcome Deputy Director Madam Liu Yanhong from the Department of the Human Resources and Social Security to give us more detailed information. Friends from the media, dear viewers, the provincial government prioritize all of these measures to help the company to go through the difficult time. We think that confidence matters most. As long as we are joining hands with each other and work hard and boost the confidence for the company while restoring confidence in the market and in the whole society. Of course, these special measures is still far behind with what you are expecting in the market and what you are expecting from an economic development perspective. We welcome your valuable suggestions and opinions. All the volunteering workers from across the country and from Hubei province is playing an important role to help us to fight against the COVID-19. They are fighting at the forefront and they are the trailblazers. Some of them stay at their home and all of them have overcome many different difficulties. As a governmental worker, we are going to see and view you as our moral examples. And we are also going to go through every single measures and procedures and policies during the COVID-19. With all of our sincerity and efforts, we are also going to do a good service for the work resumption of the company. Now the floor is open. Please identify your media affiliation before the question. With Hong Kong Daily, my question is that what is the urgent demand for the work resumption of a company. It is lowering down cost. So could you give me a more detailed introduction of the company's measures to lower down the cost and boost their economic performance? Thank you very much for your question. The lowering down of questions and shaking off borders means three different aspects. The first part is to lower down the cost, including different aspects of the spring plow time and resumption of work and manufacturing. As long as the loan ratio is not higher than what we expected from the standardization markets, the loans will be exempt. And we have expected this year's loan interest ratio is going to be 1% lower compared with the past 3 years. We have also going to prepare to issue low interest loans for the SMEs. For those SMEs who have a loan less than 3 million RMB, based on the PBOC's interest ratio, we are also going to give a 50% interest subsidy. The second part is that we are also going to lower down the taxation burden. As I have introduced to you, all of the VAT of the small-scale company is excluded and exempt in March to May. For those small-scale taxpayers, if they cannot pay the taxation in a timely manner, they can extend their taxation paying period to as long as 3 months. For the taxation in the properties and lands, the Taxation Bureau is also going to exempt their taxation. For those industries and the companies who suffer a lot of the COVID-19 outbreak, we have extended their loan paying period from 5 years to 8 years. We have also conducted a series of policies to seek the valuable experience from all the industries. We have lowering down the commission ratio of the company to 5%. We have also make the transportation fee for the high-speed railway free of charge. And for the level 2 ETC charging fees for the transportation, we give a 50% resumption. And for the level 3 high-speed way, we have a 14% taxation resumption for all of the state assets. And among other different SMEs, we have resumed 3 months' rent. And we have subsidies they're following up 6 months' rent. For all of these measures, it is going to help us to lower down the cost for the different companies. With People's Daily Network, my question is about the COVID-19's influence. The State Council has issued a series of policies to exempt the Social Security. Are there any policies from Hubei province to stabilize the job in the Hubei markets? Thank you very much for your question. Stabilization of jobs means stabilization of company performance. As you have mentioned, the whole nation, and especially the State Council, has published a series of policies to exclude the Social Security payment. This policy helps the province greatly. We have also fight for the national support in the unemployment Social Security, and we are also trying our best to help the whole nations to stabilize the job, lowering down threshold. Firstly, for those companies who suffered more than 5.5% of their economic performance. We have returned 70% of their social security fee, and this number can go as high as 100 company for those SMEs who has less than 500 employees. We are not going to check one-on-one. We are also going to return their social security that they paid last year by 50%. Secondly, for those companies who have facing a temporary difficulties, we are going to help them in stabilizing these policies according to the different areas policy. We are also going to enlarge these subsidy ratios. Third part, we are also going to optimize our service with a contactless servicing platform. Across the province, 17 different cities and counties have online platform to do the governmental procedure. This actually helps us to stabilize the procedure, making the whole governmental procedure more convenient and efficient. Fourthly, we are racing against time to land the policies. For those companies who have less than 500 employees, we have subsidies over 230 million of their workers and help them to resume of their normal working procedure. With CCTV, since the outbreak of the COVID-19, how did the financial institution support the Hubei government? We want to thank you for your concern and for your care about our financial institutions' work. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19, PBOC Hubei branch, among other different financial institutions in Hubei, while we are doing a good financial work, we have actively supported the fight against COVID-19. We have provided in-time financial lending services. Our effort can be summed up in the following 4 parts. We have overcome the difficulties of the COVID-19 outbreak and increased the total investment of the general volume. PBOC has given a lot of the lending support to the other different commercial banks, among which there are 12 different commercial banks has enhanced their banking subsidy policies to Hubei area. That is to say, for the lendings in Hubei, it is enjoying a lower lending ratio. There are over 33 different banks have elongated their repayment time period, and they have also readjusting around 143,000 different companies' contracts, among which 63,000 of the contract is under the initiation of the company. Others are being initiated by the bank itself. The total interest ratio is around several billions. By the end of February, the total bank resumption is reaching 5.63 billion RMB. That is 2.5% higher than the whole nation, among which the inclusive financing companies and SMEs loaning ratio is growing by 30.1%, while for the manufacturing industry, the total lending structure is 200% increase compared with last year. Secondly, we have adopted a very favoring interesting policies. We have supporting all of these key areas in the outbreak of Hubei. Once the PBOC has issued a 30 billion lending in Hubei. All the different branches of the PBOC Hubei, together with the 12 different banks in Hubei, has made up all the details under the general guidance of PBOC, and we have organized the connections between different companies. This is our priority, and we have given out all the loans that we could support it so far. Up to this morning, we have issued the loans, which is reaching up to 6.3 billion re-lending after the subsidies of the physical institution. The actual interest rate the company is shouldering is actually lower than 1.6%. It covers medical equipment subsidy, inventory, logistics, among other different focus of us. This has also greatly supported the academic prevention and control in our province. Thirdly, we have adopted a series of the monetary policies for the releasing and re-lending. This helps the company during the spring plowing time, because our province is falling behind other different provinces in the spring plowing time. So our real practice of this policy is also lagging behind. We are working together with 12 different commercial banks and 6 policy-oriented banks to translate this policy into reality. Fourthly, we guarantee the financial institution's smooth operation. For the past 2 months, PBOC is working together with several different institutions, publishing over several dozens of the papers, covering the prevention and control for the financial institution. And it helps us to translate all the policies into the reality. And we have also adopted a series of measures to guarantee the basic demand of the fiscal policy. This has greatly helped us in the earmarking of the special fund. For the financial institution, its liquidity is amped, and this is guaranteeing a stabilization of the financial institution. With economic delay, after the stabilization of the COVID-19, more and more concern is focusing on the economic development. What kind of fiscal policy did you issue to support the economic development? Thank you very much for your question. For the fiscal department, we have adopted the following measures. First, we have adopted a periodical taxation exemption from the March to the 5th. We have excluded and cut all the small-scale companies' VAT to 0%. For those companies who suffered a lot from the outbreak of the COVID-19, for example, the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, and the real estate industry, the lending period is extending from 5 years to 8 years. This helped the company greatly. For those companies who have bought the manufacturing equipment just before the outbreak of COVID-19, we have given them a taxation resumptions and a lot of subsidy. For the industries including the logistics and delivery, we have conducted a zero taxation policy. For all of the imported medical materials and medical equipment, we have also adopted a zero taxation policy. Secondly, we have put forward a series of the inclusive financial supporting measures. In 2020, from February to June, we have cut down the healthcare taxations into zero. At this front, if there is any more difficulties, we allow the company to extend their social security payment period to another 6 months. And we have also subsidized the highway transportation fees for the large truck company. And thirdly, we have adopted a very precise subsidizing policies for those companies, which are our focus. During the outbreak, we subsidize them in buying the manufacturing equipment. For those first branch of the company, we have allocated 1 billion RMB. Secondly, we have also enhanced all kinds of governmental investment funds. We have also going to build up a series of the new industry since the outbreak of the COVID-19. Thirdly, we have strictly implementing the subsidy to the unemployed people. Fourthly, we are also going to give all kinds of the guidance to the investment. We are going to adopt an innovative system for the fiscal policy. We encourage all the governmental funds to flourish in Hubei. For example, the Yangtze River Fund, Wuchang Fund. Through a market-rising operation, we are going to level up more social capitals to be directed into the social fund. Through all of these supportive policies, we are going to boosting confidence in the whole society and restoring the whole society back into normal life. With Hubei Daily, since the outbreak of COVID-19, it actually revealed many of the shortcomings of the medical equipment industry in Hubei province and also the PPE equipment in the Hubei industry. How do we enhance the industrial chain? How do we build up a more comprehensive industrial chain for PPE and medical equipment? Thank you very much for your question. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, we have exposed our shortcomings in the medical equipment. There are several different fronts: lower production capacity, lack of brands, and lack of inventory. For those disadvantages, for those areas, we explored during the outbreak. We have focusing on the 4 different areas. We have restored the production capacity in a timely manner. We have also built up a system to allocate the medical resources. We arranged several different governmental institutions to help the company addressing several of their different headaches, including the work resumption and their logistic headache. We have also helped them in their upstream companies to stabilizing their production. Secondly, we support the company in their renovation project. Through an upgrading of production line and affiliated projects, we supported the key company to extend their production capacity. Thirdly, we are ramping up effort to a bunch of different companies. For the newly built up factories, newly extended production lines, we have those companies by allocating 37 different governmental officials and 37 different specialized companies to help the company to enlarge their production capacity. Fourthly, we have published a series of the policies. When we were trying to allocating the earmarked special fund for the medical equipment, we have issued a series of policies, including the taxation, exemption, and bank subsidy. We are trying our best to guarantee the supply of the PPEs and all the other different medical equipments. After a 2-month effort, the total production of medical equipments and medical devices in our province is increased dramatically. We registered 320,000 pieces of the medical masks production every day. With the allocations of the CPC Central Committee, the help of other different provinces, we have achieved an overturn of the situation where all the medical devices and medical materials are enough for the whole province. Going forward, we are also going to use the whole industry in the province to help the industry of the medical devices to grow further. We are also going to support all of these companies to grow further. For those companies who benefited from the State Council's subsidy, we are also giving them the provincial subsidy. Secondly, we are also going to build up a series of the brands. We are also going to adopt 3 policies. Encourage the companies to build up their own brands. Help the company to upgrade their medical production. Thirdly, we are also going to focus on the whole industry development. For the multiple industry, for the manufacturing equipments of the giggles and medical masks, we have fully aware of that, and we are going to overturn the situation by building up an industrial specialized park for production of the PPE equipment. Thank you very much. With Legal Daily, we noticed that for the policies and measures, there is a coordination development of the physical policy and economic department. What kind of measures do we keep up so far? Thank you very much. The joint effort between the physical policies and the financial sector means that in the prevention and control of the outbreak of the COVID-19, we give a lot of physical subsidies to better support the companies to create more jobs. Through earmarked re-lending, we give a lot of interest rate subsidies from the CPC Central Committee. We have subsidized the company according around 50% of their lending volume. For example, we are also going to lower down the interest rate subsidies for the companies. For those companies who did not get an earmarked re-lending, but who have contributed a lot in the battle against COVID-19. We are also going to give them a 30% physical subsidy according to the market interest rate. Thirdly, we are also going to help the entrepreneurship and employment. For the individual entrepreneurship loans, less than 115,000 RMB, the provincial government is going to subsidize them. For the small-scale company, we are going to subsidize 50% of their interest rate loans. For those of the companies and individuals who lack their income because of the outbreak of the COVID-19, we give them a subsidy of the interest rate for over 1 year. Fourthly, we are also going to enhance our capacity for governmental guaranteed loans. For those of the companies who are servicing the battle against COVID-19, we are going to exempt their guaranteeing ratio, and their re-guaranteeing interest rate is also going to be cut into zero. We are also going to combine the physical policies together with the financial policies, supporting the SMEs, working together with other different financial institutions. With no financial guarantee, all the SMEs enjoy an interest rate subsidy and a green channel to speed up their lending procedure. For those companies listed in the Shanghai Stock Exchange and the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, we are going to adopt a phase-out incentive mechanism. For all of these financial institutions, we are also give them a lot of incentives. Financial institution, if the financial institution is giving the first-time loan to the SMEs, we are going to subsidize themselves by 5% of the loan volume. So by generating a logic, reasonable financial supporting mechanism, we are going to boost the economy back into the normal life. With China Daily. Going forward, what will the financial institution adopt to better support the economic recovery of the whole province? We are also going to, thank you very much for your question. We are going to do our job in the following 4 aspects. There are 5 different fronts that we are working on. There are the 300 billion subsidy from PBOC, 500 billion policy supportive loan from PBOC. Since the 25th of January, companies affected by the COVID-19, all of their payment contract is going to be extended. Fourthly, on the 6th of March, PBOC has lowered down the inventory interest ratio. And for the capitals released at this time, we should make a good use of it. While making a good use of all these lendings I mentioned before, I think that we are also going to enhance Hubei province's support to all the financial institutions. We are working on the 3 different fronts. As a nationwide, banks and their different banking branches, they need to give more give more supportive policies and subsidies to the SMEs. We are also going to enlarge the earmarked lending amount. We have also going to prepare to report to the PBOC headquarters about the local economic performance. I think Hubei is a hard-hit region. the financial institution is going to come up with a special action and plan to achieve the goals that we have set up before, apart from the millions of hundreds plans. This year, we have also initiated the project in the 4 different aspects. Special arrangement for the down payment. Second, special arrangement for the banks. Special arrangement for the head and director of the bank. And fourthly, special supportive policy for the different banking institutions. All of these supportive policies towards the bank is designed to address all the lending payment issues for the company. This is also going to help the company enlarge their lending demand, and we are trying our best to help Hubei to restore its economic capacity. Thirdly, through reform, we are going to guide the fundraising cost for the different companies. PBOC has put forward a series of reform for the LPR reform. This is actually an important measure to guide the bank lending into a downward trajectory. Under the current situation, newly added loans is more channeled to use the LPR pricing mechanism. At the end of February, we should make all-out effort to finish our LPR targets. It is going to lower down the fundraising cost for the company. Finally, we are also going to land the company's demand by utilizing all the best resources of PBOC. We are also going to monitor the work, increasing the working efficiency. And we are also going to include the LPA examinations and LPR interest rate into a part of the bigger picture. That is how we are going to boost the financial institution to better implement the policy. And this is also going to help all the different institutions to better support the private sector to restore its capacity. By implementing all of these works, we will achieve the targets. We need to make sure the newly added loan amount this year in Hubei province is no less than last year. The newly added loans for the commercial banks should be 20% higher compared with last year. The interest rate is going to be 1% lower compared with last year. With Yangtze River Cloud Platform, the outbreak of the COVID-19 is rampaging and hurting many different industries, including the electronic and automotive industry in Hubei province. What kind of measure do we take to make up for these losses? Thank you very much for your question. The outbreak of the COVID-19 do poses a lot of damage to the manufacturing industry that you have mentioned. From January to February, the total production of this industry has been down by 30.2%. Automobile, electronics, oil and petroleum registered an over 40% downward trajectory. Some of the companies' orders are being heavily affected. Some of the companies' global status is being rampaged. How do we help the company recover their economic performance? This is one of our priorities. Our effort is going to be focusing on the 4 different points. We are going to focusing on the key industries. Up to today, we have organized a special working team. According to a categorized system, we are going to help these key industries and key companies to resume their work. We are also going to focusing on the electronics, automotive, oil, and petroleum to help them to restore their production capacity. We are also going to build up a coordinated mechanism between the provincial government, municipal government, and the county governments to help the company to better managing their working force flows, their equipment supplying flows, and their production flows to help more companies came back into their life, run their daily business, and gradually they are going to become profitable again. We are also going to breed up more hidden champion companies. By all kinds of the subsidies from the provincial governments, the municipal governments, and the county governments, we are going to see more companies survive and thrive. Secondly, we are also going to focus on several different companies. By coming up with a renovation and restructure plans for the year 2020, we are going to gradually channel the provincial level fund to be directed to the different companies. After all kinds of research, we are going to come up with more subsidies to the manufacturing equipment. With our updated manufacturing equipment, the company will enjoy a better economic environment. For the food industry, textile industry, pharmaceutical industry, and chemical industry, which were hard-hit industry and the outbreak, we are going to fight for the help from MIIT, enabling more companies to enjoy the policy environment. Thirdly, we are also going to focus on the emerging economies to let the emerging economy become another driver for the provincial economy. By restoring the potentials, we are also going to working with several different institutions to breed up new growing points in the automobile industry, and we are also going to ramp up the effort towards the 5G, online education, online workplace, among other different emerging industry. We are also going to boost the development in the blockchains, artificial intelligence, big data, among other different new infrastructure industry. We have also going to give out a series of the production plans for the new emerging industry. This is going to help us to boost a new growing point for the different industry. Fourthly, we have also focusing on the several different newly bred projects. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, we have focusing on the project, focusing on the investment. The task is quite daunting. By taking the hold in the 10 major industries, we are going to shift our focus to the telecommunication industry and the IT industry, with the focus on the 3 different industries, including the state-of-the-art manufacturing industry, including the internet-enabled automobile industry, with 159 projects registered over 50 billion investment projects. Secondly, we should focus on the telecommunication industry by stepping our effort in the 5G area. There are 33 different base stations in our province for the 5G era, and they are all under our governmental support. Thirdly, we are also going to find the new growing point by coming up with a 3-level growing plan. We are also going to promote the economy back into the normal. With Jinchu Network, the general scenarios of the COVID-19 is getting better in our province, but many people worry that they could not find a job after the outbreak. Are there any measures for us to boost job? Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much for your concern about job creating. We are a province providing labors to the whole nation. There are 11 million people working as migrant workers from our province affected by the COVID-19. We are under huge pressure of finding and securing people a job. We have came up with a series of plans. This has actually helped the whole province to stabilize the job. We are also going to adopt comprehensive measures to encourage the company. First, we encourage the company to take in more workers and more staffs. For those of the workers who have been laid off for over half a year, and we give them subsidies. Secondly, we are also going to hire a series of the community doctors and rural area teachers in the rural area at the grassroots level. We are also going to encourage more talents to go to the grassroots level to create the splendors in their own career. Thirdly, we have built up an encouraging and incentive programs for more college graduates to come back to Hubei and start up their own business. Fourthly, for all of these migrant workers, we are quite aware that yesterday all the workers from Hubei is stepping on the train back to their workplace in the big cities. And our governor, Mr. Ying Yong, has sent them off. We are also going to speed up and step up our effort to connecting all of these migrant workers with several different provinces. Fifthly, for those people under the difficulties, for those who are difficult to find a job, we are going to give them more basic income guarantee. We are also going to elongate their subsidy period by connecting the workers in the province and other different provinces. We are going to land our project and grounded these policies into the real practice. We are here to ask friends from the media to encourage our effort in this front. Thank you very much, friends from the media. With that, we conclude today's press release. Thank you.